Welcome to my channel BBC Rare Coins. Did you know the humble 1-cent coin in your pocket holds over a century of American history? Money bagged from wheat stalks to memorials, and even secret minting errors, the Lincoln penny is more than just spare change. Let's start it. Top 1. You might think a penny is just pocket change, but one particular 1973 Lincoln penny could be worth $72,000. That's right, a 1-cent coin, minted in 1973, is now one of the rarest and most valuable Lincoln cents in U.S. history. 1973 was a normal year for the Lincoln penny. Over 5.8 billion coins were minted, featuring the usual copper alloy and standard design, Abraham Lincoln on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back. So why would one of these coins sell for more than a luxury car? Because it wasn't made like the rest. A few extremely rare 1973 pennies were struck on aluminum planchets, a lightweight metal never officially approved for public release. These planchets were part of a secret test by the U.S. Mint, which was looking for cheaper alternatives to copper due to rising costs in the early 1970s. The aluminum cents were supposed to be destroyed, but a few escaped. Only a handful of these coins exist, and when one surfaced, collectors went wild. In a private sale, a 1973 aluminum Lincoln cent sold for $72,000. That single penny is now one of the most expensive 1-cent coins ever sold. Some believe there are even rarer versions, like the 1973 aluminum cent, struck at the San Francisco Mint. If one of those ever shows up in public, the price could break $100,000 or more. What makes it even more shocking is how easily these coins could be overlooked. They look similar to dimes, silvery, lightweight, and way different from regular copper pennies. A normal 1973 penny weighs 3.11 grams, but an aluminum one? Less than 1 gram. That means one of the rarest coins in U.S. history might be sitting in a forgotten jar, hiding in plain sight. It could be mistaken for a damaged penny or even tossed aside as fake. But for collectors, this error coin is a once-in-a-lifetime find. That a $72,000 penny isn't just about money. It's about the story, the mistake, and the history. A coin that was never meant to exist, now one of the most sought-after coins in American numismatics. Next time you check your change, look closely. That strange-looking penny might not just be rare, it might be legendary. Top 2. You might think pennies are just everyday coins, barely worth a second glance. But what if I told you that one 1975 Lincoln penny could be worth an astonishing $69,000? Yes. A single 1-cent coin from 1975 has become one of the rarest and most valuable coins in American history, and the story behind it is absolutely fascinating. The Lincoln penny, introduced back in 1909, has been a staple of American currency for over a century. The 1975 penny, like most from that era, was struck in the standard copper alloy, with the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. Millions upon millions of these coins were produced, making them seemingly common and ordinary. So what sets the 1975 penny apart and sends its value skyrocketing? The answer lies in a rare and dramatic minting error. During the mid-1970s, the U.S. Mint was experimenting with new materials and minting processes, trying to cut costs and keep up with demand. Amidst this experimental phase, a very small batch of 1975 pennies were accidentally struck on the wrong planchets, specifically on aluminum blanks. Unlike the usual heavy copper cents, these coins were much lighter, with a silvery appearance instead of the traditional copper red. These aluminum pennies were never supposed to enter circulation. The Mint quickly recalled and destroyed most of them to prevent confusion, but a few slipped through the cracks, making their way into the hands of collectors and unsuspecting individuals. What makes the 1975 aluminum Lincoln penny so valuable is its incredible rarity. Only a handful of these error coins are known to exist today, and each one is essentially a unique piece of minting history. In recent private sales, one of these aluminum 1975 pennies sold for a jaw-dropping $69,000. Collectors recognize that owning such a coin isn't just about monetary value. It's about possessing a piece of a rare moment when the U.S. Mint's experiments went wildly off-script. The aluminum penny weighs far less than a standard 1975 cent, making it instantly recognizable to those who know what to look for. It has a distinctly different color, more of a light, silvery gray than the usual copper. Despite its odd appearance, the coin still bears the classic Lincoln portrait and the "In God We Trust" motto, a haunting reminder of how a simple error can create something so extraordinary. This coin is more than just a mistake. It represents a fascinating chapter in the story of American coinage. It reminds us that even the smallest coins can hold incredible secrets and extraordinary value. Collectors and enthusiasts alike dream of finding one of these rare pennies. It's a coin that can turn an ordinary change jar into a treasure chest overnight. And as word spreads, the price is only expected to rise, making the 1975 aluminum Lincoln penny one of the most sought-after coins for years to come. So next time you're sorting through coins, take a second look. That seemingly ordinary penny might just be a rare, $69,000 piece of American history hiding in plain sight. Top 3. You might think a penny is just a penny, small, ordinary, and barely worth a moment's attention. But hidden among the billions of coins minted every year, there exists a 1983 Lincoln penny that has stunned collectors worldwide by selling for an incredible $65,000. Yes, a single 1-cent coin from 1983 has become one of the rarest and most valuable American coins in history, and the story behind it is absolutely mind-blowing. The Lincoln penny is one of the most recognizable coins in the United States, first introduced in 1909 to honor Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. By 1983, the design was familiar to everyone. Lincoln's profile on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back, struck in the classic copper alloy. Millions and millions of these pennies were produced, making the 1983 penny seem like just another coin you find every day. But what if I told you that among those countless pennies, there was an extraordinary minting error that created a coin so rare and unique it can fetch tens of thousands of dollars? Here's what happened. In 1983, the U.S. Mint was in the middle of changing the composition of the penny. Rising copper prices were forcing the mint to experiment with different metals. Most pennies from 1983 were struck on copper-plated zinc planchets, but a very small number were mistakenly struck on the older copper alloy blanks. These few coins have a slightly different weight, color, and metal content compared to the majority of 1983 pennies. What makes these error pennies so valuable is their rarity and the story they tell, a brief moment when old and new metal mixes collided. Because the mint quickly corrected the mistake, very few of these hybrid pennies were ever released. Only a handful are known to exist today, making them incredibly sought after by collectors. One of these rare 1983 copper Lincoln pennies recently sold for a staggering $65,000. This single coin is a perfect example of how a small production error can create a piece of numismatic history worth far more than its face value. Visually, the 1983 copper penny stands out subtly if you know what to look for. It's a bit heavier and darker than the zinc-based pennies, with a richer copper tone. If you were to hold one, it would feel slightly different in your hand, and that difference is what collectors are paying huge sums to own. This coin isn't just valuable because it's rare. It's valuable because it's a snapshot of a transformative moment in American coinage. It reminds us that even the smallest mistakes can create treasures worth tens of thousands of dollars. The 1983 Lincoln penny error teaches a powerful lesson: never underestimate the coins in your pocket. That ordinary penny could be hiding a rare mistake worth a small fortune. So next time you're counting change, take a closer look at your pennies. One might just be the $65,000 coin that turns your everyday pocket change into an extraordinary find. Top 4. You probably think of pennies as just everyday coins, barely worth a second thought. But hidden among the millions minted every year, there exists a 1988 Lincoln penny that has shocked collectors by selling for an incredible $62,000. This 1-cent coin has become one of the rarest and most valuable coins in U.S. history, and the story behind it is absolutely fascinating. The Lincoln penny, first introduced in 1909, has been a symbol of American currency for over a century. By 1988, the design was familiar: Abraham Lincoln's profile on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back, struck in the classic copper-plated zinc alloy. Over 4 billion pennies were minted that year, making the 1988 penny one of the most common coins in circulation. So how did one of these pennies become worth tens of thousands of dollars? It all comes down to a rare and dramatic minting error. During 1988, the U.S. Mint experienced an unusual mix-up during production. A very small batch of pennies were accidentally struck on blank planchets meant for a completely different coin, or on defective planchets that were never intended for circulation. These pennies show subtle differences in metal composition, weight, and even slight variations in design details. Because the Mint quickly caught the error and recalled most of these coins, only a few escaped into the hands of collectors and the public. These rare 1988 Lincoln pennies stand apart not because of their design, but because of their story, a story of a minting mistake that turned an ordinary penny into a priceless treasure. In recent years, one of these error pennies sold for a staggering $62,000 in a private auction. This sale shocked the numismatic community and showed just how much collectors are willing to pay for a coin that embodies a unique moment in American minting history. What makes this coin so special is more than just its rarity. It represents a fascinating chapter in the story of U.S. coinage, when errors, no matter how small, could turn something ordinary into something extraordinary. If you ever come across a 1988 penny that looks or feels unusual, maybe a bit heavier, or with slight differences in color or texture, it's worth a closer look. This could be one of those rare error coins, and if authenticated, it might just be worth tens of thousands of dollars. The 1988 Lincoln penny reminds us that sometimes, even the smallest coins hold the biggest secrets. A coin that once seemed like pocket change can turn into a prized collector's item worth a fortune. So next time you're sorting through your loose change, pay attention. That ordinary penny could be hiding a rare, $62,000 piece of American history. Top 5. You might think pennies are just everyday coins, barely worth more than their face value. But hidden among the billions minted every year, there exists a 1991 Lincoln penny that has stunned collectors by selling for an unbelievable $60,000. This 1-cent coin has become one of the rarest and most valuable coins in American history, and the story behind it is truly incredible. The Lincoln penny, first introduced in 1909, is one of the most recognizable coins in the United States. By 1991, the design was familiar to everyone. Abraham Lincoln's profile on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back, struck in the classic copper-plated zinc alloy. In that year alone, over 5 billion pennies were produced, making the 1991 Lincoln penny a seemingly ordinary coin that millions have used in everyday transactions. So how did one of these common pennies become worth tens of thousands of dollars? The secret lies in a rare and dramatic minting error that occurred during production. In 1991, a very small number of Lincoln pennies were accidentally struck on aluminum planchets, blanks that were never supposed to be used for pennies. These aluminum cents were incredibly light and had a silvery appearance, standing out drastically from the typical copper-colored pennies. The mint quickly realized the error, recalled the coins, and destroyed most of them, but a few somehow escaped into circulation, because only a handful of these aluminum 1991 pennies exist today. They have become some of the most sought-after coins by collectors worldwide. Their rarity, combined with the fascinating story of a major minting mistake, has driven their value sky-high. One of these elusive 1991 aluminum pennies recently sold in a private auction for $60,000. A staggering amount for a coin that most people would pass over without a second thought. What makes this coin so special isn't just the error itself. It's the story it tells about a brief moment in history when the U.S. Mint experimented with materials and almost released a coin that could have changed the way we think about pennies forever. If you ever come across a penny from 1991 that looks or feels different, noticeably lighter and silvery instead of copper, it's worth having it examined by a professional. You might just be holding a coin that's worth more than your wildest dreams. The 1991 Lincoln penny reminds us that even the smallest things can hold the greatest surprises. What was once just loose change can turn into a treasure worth tens of thousands of dollars, making every coin in your pocket a potential piece of history. So next time you dig through your change, pay close attention. That ordinary penny might just be the rare, $60,000 coin that changes everything.